I can already see many of the headlines by my fellow opposition-brained lefty people about Keir Starmer's commitments this morning to the big business international investment conference that we're having. And bear in mind, let's get this first straight off the bat. I think this type of conference, inviting all these international investors and saying, we are here, we are open for business, we want you to invest here, is a good thing. Is a very, very good thing. Why? Because I've said it before, there's a couple of sections where I've said the left is very, very bad when it comes to, and talking about business is one area. It's one area that the left fails to talk about and engage with time and time and time again, because they always get caught up on, what about workers' rights? Workers' rights, separate issue. It's called workers' rights for a reason. But when you're talking about businesses, how we can encourage growth, innovation, getting more people, companies to bring their companies here to invest in the UK is something that no matter what type of government you are or where you stand on the political spectrum, you want. You want them to come and do that. But Keir Starmer's comments about cutting red tape, and again, I can already see it, but I guarantee you, no one is going to talk about the follow-up question that was asked of him about this, which we're going to cover today, about what that means. Red tape. What is it? Is it important that the left should pay attention to it? And more important, what we really call it, regulation, and how, well, talking about regulation is probably something we on the left need to pay a lot more attention to. But before we get talking more about that, please remember to click on the like, click on the share button, click on the subscribe button if you are new to the channel. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page, the one of today's link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button. And of course, as always, there is the Pony Club down below as well. And you can also leave a super thank you as well down below too. So thank you very much to everyone who does help and support the channel, however you may support it. So first of all, let's get this off the road straight away. Starmer's comments. This is what he said when he was opening. So this is what he said. They were going to rip out the bureaucracy that blocks investment. He said, we've got to look at regulation, where it is needlessly holding back investment, and to take our country forward. Where it is stopping us building homes, the data centers, the warehouses, the grid connectors, roads, train lines, you name it, then mark my words, we will get rid of it. And we will rip out the bureaucracy that blocks investment, and will make sure that every regulator in this country takes growth as seriously as this room does. So immediately, many people on the left are like, oh my God, he's going to go on a deregulation spree. And bear in mind, before we get to his additional comment, because that is where a lot of people are not going to report about, I can guarantee you, bear in mind, a lot of people and unions, of course, saw that and panicked. Because at the start of the coalition with David Cameron went on a bonfire of red tape and deregulated a lot of the safety concerns around building. Now, this, of course, led to things like the disaster at Grenfell. It led to the whole rack concrete disaster that happened in schools, not only just in schools, but libraries, prisons, public buildings, you name it. But let's remind you what that was from a right-wing point of view. Slashing red tape, burning red tape is exactly that. It is getting rid of safety protocols. It is getting government out of the business of regulation. Because as far as David Cameron and the rest of the Conservatives and the right wing are concerned, there should be absolutely no regulation whatsoever. That was the agenda that they pursued. A deregulatory agenda that was really masked as just get rid of as many regulations as we can because we do not like regulations. And ultimately, that's what it was at the end of the day. Bear in mind, this is now where I guarantee you a lot of people are not going to bring up what Starmer's response was to a question, because he was asked this question exactly. So, when asked whether this was the same as regulating less, which, bear in mind, is what the right wing have said and what they want, he said it's different, which fundamentally we have to look at and start talking more about. He said, you do not have to cut corners to get innovation through the regulatory landscape. And that is worth talking about. That is worth massively talking about, because he is right. It is different to say, right, maybe there's this bureaucracy like that stops us building, I don't know, a new train line or a new road line. Is there just too much red tape which slows us down the building of this, or that stops maybe the building of this when you could absolutely have a expansion of a roadway, or maybe build this new railway? We are right to talk about that, because unfortunately regulation is not the most sexiest topic to talk about on YouTube. Bear in mind, there are lots of us out there on YouTube, and even I, that stay away from talking about regulation, because once you get into the weeds of regulation, anyone will tell you that deals with this in their daily life, oh boy, it can get boring, it can get cumbersome, but some regulations are very, very much well needed. And that's why Starmer's comment is worth highlighting, because I guarantee you a lot of people are going to attack Starmer, say he's going on a massive deregulatory agenda. When he has said there, fundamentally, it is not, it is different. We are not talking about regulating less. We are talking ways where we can look at regulating a lot more smartly. Can you maybe reduce regulation here to encourage more growth and innovation in a sector, without, shall we say, completely, slashing things like David Cameron did, which, as we said, led to things like Grenfell, led to things like the Iraq crisis. So bear in mind, as I said many times before at the beginning of this is an area where the left is not good really at talking at. Because I, once again, do not know many lefty YouTubers who are like in the weeds on really talking about exactly what this regulation sort of fully means, what this regulation fully does. Instead, I guarantee you there'll be many people panicking, at least today, if not yesterday, saying, "Oh my God, Starmer's going, full red, red Tory. He's going on a bonfire of regulations," not even knowing what exactly regulations or that Starmer is going to go after, because you can have very, very big discussions about just one piece of regulation. I mean, Christ, we've been through this in 2016 and through the entire Brexit saga, talking about regulations, what they are, why they are important. Um, just look at the whole time we've done videos about what is happening about the border crossing, and some of the stuff there about the bizarre and illegal meat that's being trying to be shipped through, sometimes, by the way, from EU countries. So just because a country is in the EU does not mean that there are, shall we say, good actors acting in those countries, following the rules and regulations. But there you go. So bear in mind, regulations are important, and it is a topic that we on the left should talk more about, and how regulations can impact on business. If you want to have more jobs, well, then you need more businesses out there being able to set up. You need more business investment out there to be able to set up. And there was a very, very good comment written in a letter by this, which I just want to finish on, which was that the UK has now been bolstered now by greater political stability, saying we are more optimistic about the future of the economy and believe it's time to invest in Britain. Quite frankly, to hear that coming from businesses after the disasters we have been seeing since 2016 is incredibly good news to hear on a lot of fronts, that businesses are now looking, it's a brand new day, it's a brand new government, you are politically stable once again, time to start reinvesting in Britain. That is good news. So, as always, let me know what you think down below. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.